Maximus analysis here for September 28th, 2015. We see they continue with the selling from Friday, and they sold into the close, which kind of surprised me. But again, it is what it is. These are the markets that we're dealing with. Looks like they're definitely going to come back for these August lows. I just don't know when. So again, no one knows when. So again, but I wouldn't be taking any longs right here, right now, unless you're taking oversold bounce trades that you've already formulated way before. You have a strategy that tells you how to do this consistently and where you have your stops and stuff like that. Just don't go into things saying they can't go any lower. That's just what I'm trying to tell you. NQ had a big down day today as well. Haven't seen NQ off, well, since last August. You haven't seen a big 100 move down for the NQ. Again, they tapped that 50% of the previous day's range in selling. So if we're looking at where targets could be, we're looking at 1380. It could happen quickly, or it could take about 3 weeks or so, but we'll see. But again, that's where I would be, looking for things to go on a swing trade. The YM, again, of all the names, this one is the weakest. So again, they can go all the way down to potentially around 15,000. And I think that they can do that. Again, it all depends on what names they're going to let go, if you want to call it that. The IWM had continuation as well to the downside. So it's about to hit some targets actually soon. So I think, again, if you're in this trade, you could peel some off or try to tighten your stop up to take some targets, because about this 107, 105 places where I would look for a target. But again, you could just roll your stuff down to try to lock in profits or go from there. So you see that Apple had another sell signal, actually closed near the lows. So right now they're at the 50% retracement mark. And if they continue and break below it, again, the volume was a little bit lighter, but we want to see it close near the low of the day. So if you look at a 15-minute, you can see that they closed near the low of the day. So again, they sold off. A lot of different beta names kind of really sold off. So again, Facebook sold off very well, continued. Again, this might give them either you took it today or you're going to have to look for another opportunity, which is fine. Again, you're not going to be able to catch every trade. I missed some trades today as well. Tesla, another one that sold with some strength. You had Priceline really took the NASDAQ down. So it's down about, I think it was about $50 at the time. So you could see that you had an engulfing. Usually you like to, so here's the candlestick jargon you got to be careful with. So typically they would say this is not an bearish engulfing pattern, because it didn't come at the tail end of the move. So it didn't happen like here. It happened at, let's say, after it moved down. My thing is more of looking at the price action intraday to understand that it's not just looking at the candlestick patterns, but also looking at the intraday patterns to say they gapped up and closed near the low, telling you that the bears, then once you have follow through down below, your stop has to go above here and you get this continued weakness. So just kind of hope that helps. So Netflix, again, Netflix actually didn't look that bad today, all things considering. So didn't look that bad at all. But again, it's just sideways, and you have this, which can be annoying. You have higher lows, you have lower highs, so you just want to see exactly where it's going to pop. But the bias, again, because of where we live in space, would kind of have to be to the downside. So it's just a matter of not chasing. And if they get above 107, 108, then you kind of will regroup and go from there. Some other names to look at: Fitbit, again, they sold off today. Again, they need to regain this 40.64 level. You also had LinkedIn that sold off, again, continued there. So again, we'll see if they're going to continue or pop it up. If they continue with the downside and see what this retracement looks like, downside is still seeing about that 158 mark. And then you had crude, and crude is still doing its dance. So again, you can look at this and say, okay, sorry about that. You look and say, listen, we have our 5 waves down, we broke the low, but they didn't break 44. Again, they break 44, you could put your stop here or above here, and I would more want to leverage maybe the USO if you don't want to trade the futures. you could say based on the USO, it would be above basically 1531 or maybe even 16 bucks if you want to give them more room. But again, this one is still sideways, so we're looking for a break of that. You had gold broke down. You had the dollar kind of, I guess it's still sideways. You had bonds shot up. You can see from this day it definitely shot up. So again, we're going to continue to look at things. I'm not trying to get overly bearish. I am bearish, but whenever I know that I'm overly bearish, like the sky is falling, I'm like, there's going to be a bounce. There's going to be a bounce. It's just psychologically, I try to put myself in a space that I can kind of try to think rationally or think of each situation. So I suggest that you do the same, so that if something does different than your initial strategy, that you're not completely blindsided. And again, that's why stops and risk management and all that stuff come into place. So again, we'll see if they're going to continue down tomorrow, or they're going to go sideways or even pop it up overnight. So again, we'll see what happens overnight situation. And again, this, people sometimes look at this action and I'm like, this is just short covering, calm down, and people will go all the way to this is just short covering into the close, quite honestly. So we want to see them regain that 1900 level before we even say anything about anything bullish for the time being. All right, take care and trade them well.